Hello, and welcome to Augmented Teachings. The topic for discussion on today's episode is, does God obey man's laws? Stay tuned and let's unpack this together. Thanks for joining us.
Trust in the journey. Let your spirit soar with augmented teachings. We'll open the door.
So guys, welcome back to the show. Another episode of Augmented Teachings.
Mm-hmm. So I came up with this subject matter today because it was hitting me like a freight train. Mm-hmm. This wasn't supposed to be today's show, but I had a pastor yesterday who had this idea that if you didn't have a marriage certificate, that you were living in sin and you were going to burn in hell. And I was like, very interesting, because that is a law created by man for control. There's many other countries that don't have the same type of structure that we have, that don't have marriage certificates, and they're not going to burn in hell. It's a simple fact. So what I want to do in this show is explain the basics of what we need to know. Once you understand the basics of what we need to know, then everything else falls in line. So there's laws that have been written by man all over the place. You know, right now we have a situation with ICE and Trump, and a lot of people feel that that's validated through his actions. So he writes a law. These people that are born, this side of the border are bad, and these people that are born on this side of the border are good, right? And then we go back home, and these people that have dealt with this situation get to realize the repercussions of their actions. So we'll use an ICE agent who feels validated. I'm coming here, I'm protecting my country, I'm protecting these people from those people. And it's validated through the idea that if it's law, then it's sanctioned by God. When this ICE agent returns back home and he feels himself go through that situation of tearing that first family apart, that charged situation of anger and hopelessness, he's going to understand right then and there, this is exactly what God felt with his actions. His actions created a situation to where God felt this anger and this anguish at that moment in time. And luckily for him, it was saved for him, so that now he gets to go through it and see the repercussions of his actions. So as the Bible says, how you treat the least of these is how you treat me. That is a very true statement. And to love thy neighbor is something we should address and adhere to at all times. Because just because somebody writes a law, God is fully aware of man's tricks of trying to circumvent love through its own actions. And when you go to a situation where to create hatred and punishment because of an ideal that you have, God is not going to be in line with it. God's situation has created a very perfect system for us to learn by. And that is, when you go back home, you're only judged on how you treated others. And when that ICE agent goes through, there's not going to be any lawyers saying, well, Donald Trump signed this and did that, so it's validated. Those pieces of paper don't exist on the other side of the veil. Matter of fact, the ego isn't there. So when this person asks, well, why is this being done to me? I'm following the law. It's like, that wasn't God's law. When this person says, it's validated through whatever Trump said, it's like, these things don't exist. You're here to learn unconditional love, and that's it. Anything above that or beyond that is unnecessary. There's no way around it. You have to go through this situation. You feel what God felt, and you deal with the repercussions of what God felt at all times.
Yeah, and truly, the only law of God is love.
Right.
Love is the law.
Right.
And the people here that are doing this thing, they have the perfect approach, the disguises they wear, the costume, the mask, right? It's the brutality of their approach when they come in. But yet if you lay a finger, if you say, no, don't hit my husband, don't take my child, they feel so threatened that you're charged with assaulting an officer, right? So it's not even in their punishment. They're just cowards. They cannot take a voice telling them not to, or you get charged with something. You can't take someone standing between you. You get charged with defending your family and things like that.
To me, that just shows hatred.
It just shows hatred. But the truth is they are in a group activity, right? But when you are with Source, it is a one-on-one relationship, right? And you are not going to be able to say, well, we, right? It is going to be you on that review of your life, you and not anyone else there, right? The comforts that and the shields that they try to protect themselves with here is only for that moment, so they feel brave enough to go out there. Certainly, without the masses, do they walk amongst the crowds and scream who they are, right? When they're alone, right? No, it's everything about it is false. And like Brandy is saying, the God is, I believe, is love, right? And God gave us free will, so you can. Our president and other people who are treating other humans in such a filthy way, they have that God-given right to act that way, right?
It's free will, right?
It's not about me hating them,
No.
but it's about me stating that we can be better than that, right? We don't need to be with the masses. We don't need to be in the dark waves of humanity. We could stand up right where we are in that darkness and be that light for people.
Right.
And I think Augmented Teachings and us, me and Cinnamon, House of Frogs, what we're trying to do.
Right.
In that type of thing. But does God follow man's law? No. It's a circus.
Right.
All right. The only thing that exists is treat others well with love.
Right.
So I would say no on all occasions.
Right. There literally is no validation for hatred. I know, like I said, man's been trying to do it forever, trying to validate it through religious ideals and all this other stuff. And it's like, you aren't going to get around it. It's like, when we get back to what you were saying right now, it is almost like a paid gang. You know what I'm saying? They won't do this by themselves because they know they're outnumbered. They will do it in gang where they're outnumbering the other group of people 2 to 1 or 3 to 1, right?
Sure.
And have all the armaments they need, and the ICE agents were like, with capitalism, we have this ideal that if you did it for money, then you were just doing your job. On the other side of the veil, you are screwed. You chose the love of money over the love of man. You are screwed. The love of money is the root of all evil. It says it in the Bible. So when they're like, oh, well, just my job. It's like, no. You chose money. You didn't have to take that job. We had free will not to take it also. And you chose to deal with it now. And to get back to what I was saying earlier, not only do we try to use our politicians to validate our hatred towards others, we also try to use religious scripture, A lot of people will say, I got this Fox News Christian in my car the other day, and they're like, all these parents are being abused by their children and this, that, and the other. And they got to, you spare the rod, you spoil the child. I'm like, okay, so that's in the Bible. I understand that is in the Bible. But when you go back home and you go through your past life review in heaven, you will feel yourself hitting that child. You will feel it. And you'll say, well, wait a second, that's in the Bible. Yeah, but that God did not write that. That was man's interpretation of what God is. The Bible isn't necessarily the word of God. It's the confusion of man about what God is. And when you go back home, God is so simple. It's love or not. That's it. Here, it's all these different rules and laws. And it's like, that's man's confusion. When you learn to love each other, you stop coming back here. But until you do, and you keep trying to find all these little avenues to push your prejudices and your hatred towards others, you're going to keep coming back. And the best part is when you keep coming back, you're going to keep coming back as the people that you showed judgment and hatred towards. So you learn faster, not slower.
Absolutely. And I think, I have this thought while you're talking is that, we have to keep learning those lessons, like you're saying, as they come, and those cycles keep coming. But isn't there people that just decide, I don't want to learn anymore? I want this. I want the money. I want the power. I want that. They have no interest in advancing, I guess you would say. Right.
And that's true. Younger souls don't have the innate wisdom within themselves to even stop and take a thought about it. Maybe when they're going through it, they might feel a little something, but it's too late. You already signed up. Older souls will not become correctional officers. Older souls will not become ICE agents. Older souls won't choose to be on the front lines hurting people. You know what I'm saying? They will choose something else. I'll be a medic. I'll be something else where I can help. But I don't want to be part of that situation to where I'm killing and being killed, because that also lays a karmic foundation. They don't realize that as we'll go back to ICE agents, as they pull people apart and hurt all these people, that is on your karmic cycle. So you can't get away from that. No matter where your soul goes, that karmic cycle is still attached. All that karmic debt. See, well, I did it for the money. Too bad. That money doesn't exist anymore. I did it for my country. That country doesn't exist anymore. I did it for my religion. Religion doesn't exist anymore. On the other side of the veil, you are just love or lack of love. Your vibration determines who you are. And that karmic debt always stays with you. And that ICE agent is going to have to come back and release some of that karmic debt by living through what it had created in a previous lifetime. And it does not realize that. It's causing a world of havoc in its soul's journey in the future.
I think what we're speaking about here is the younger soul versus the older soul.
Yes.
I feel the younger soul is more of the herd mentality.
Yeah.
Whereas the older soul is more of the we mentality, that we're all one. We all, like I say, almost in every episode, we all come from the same source. We return to the same source. Yes. And so I think when a soul can awaken to that, to that understanding, then they're no longer driven by the ego, right? So then we have more of the we mentality and the actions that we live in. So these ICE agents, the correctional, officers and things like that. Not to say that they're all the same, but if you are consciously choosing to continue this job and to continue to hurt people, then that's something to look at. And is it just because you want to keep up with the status? Is it because the herd mentality is telling you that that's what you need to do? But again, we all have free will. We all were born with a choice. We have a choice in everything we say, think, and do. And for me, I would rather go without than to hurt another person. Just for the sake of a couple of dollars to feed my family. I would not rip apart another family. I could not do that. My soul would never let my ego even make that choice ever. But again, the younger souls, forgive them, Father, for they know that not what they do. But again, there's conversations like this. There's shows like this. There's enough information out there to where you know that you have a choice. And
a lot of people aren't seeking it out, and that's the problem. Whatever Fox News tells them that day, that's good enough for them, right? And people don't realize is that, like, we'll go ICE agent or correctional officer. Even what you do indirectly to somebody goes in your karmic cycle, and you feel. So say you let this inmate attack that inmate. You didn't actually do it, but your intent did. So you get to feel what that inmate felt because of your ego, because your anger, because your jealousy, because your wanting of power, whatever it was.
You're still contributing to that.
Yes, you're contributing to that, and you get to feel what they felt, even though you didn't directly do it. Your intent created it. And people have to realize is that it's a very dangerous road when you put your ego ahead of love, when you put power ahead of love, when you put love of money over love. And when you realize that it's only a downward spiral once you get attached to that power and money, then you might pull back, or you can do it the hard way and just do it your way and realize that, because realistically, old souls are old because they've already made the mistakes. We're not any better. We've just been here longer doing it.
Exactly.
You have two choices. You can listen to the old soul liberals, or you can just do it your own way and learn the hard way. You know what I'm saying? Like truck driving. You can listen to the old truck driver. It tells you all the little tricks to help you get through your day, or you learn reinvent the wheel right there. It's up to you. And a lot of people are choosing to reinvent the wheel because they like the money and they like the power. And they like being able to vent their own angers and prejudices against others.
Because it feeds the ego. It makes them feel good. They feel satisfied within that. But again, I take a look at what satisfaction could anybody really truly have in hurting another soul. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around. But again, I have to accept that exists right now.
Right.
Well, it's important to also, for me, I try not to go into politics. I try not religion, you know, right? But it is the things that are most impactful to the world.
Right.
The masses follow those things. And all I could say is if God is love, then the hatred that you hear in religion, the hate you hear in politics, right? It's not about a law, but it's that intention of enforcing it. We're going to build prisons so that it hurts those people while they're serving that time.
Right.
You know, that is a condition of the heart.
Right.
Right? And if you talk about root causes and cause and effect, politics, as big as it is only in the middle of what the problem is.
Truly.
It's a symptom. It's a symptom of the unhealed ego, the unhealed heart, and our inward trauma and battles that we go through are reflected on our outside world with the people in charge right now. And those are what we see in the hatred is their internal battles, right? Manifested out loud for the world to see. And because of it's in that position of authority and power, it is crushing those that are searching for that light and feeding off of source, which is love. But this is the time to stand tall in that, right?
Yes.
And it's not about hating those people. It's about reflecting better so that their heart can learn. They can feel love, right? It's like the Grinch.
It's being that compassionate heart ourselves, because we know that it all starts with us.
Right.
Absolutely.
So to get back to the original topic of why it brought me to this episode, right? So when as you hurt others, you feel that what you felt, what God felt, it's saved, played back for you, and you get to feel what you created. But also on the side of love too. So when you have a loving relationship, we're going to talk about intimacy first. When you have an intimate, loving relationship with somebody, that is felt by God in the moment. God does not check whether it's a marriage certificate or not. God does not check that. God feels what you feel at all times. God's always connected to us through our soul, and our soul is of emotion. All right? So God feels that love growing within you, growing within your partner, and growing around you, right? And it develops your soul towards love. God does not check for a marriage certificate. God does not check for genitalia to make sure it's the right ones. God feels our love. God does not feel our senses. We feel those, right? And when we return back home, we can re-feel those senses. But God is connected through us through our soul, not through our vessel. So God doesn't check those things. God realizes love is love no matter what. Man has a hard time with things it's not comfortable with. The icky things, right? God doesn't see icky things. You know what I'm saying? God feels love or lack of love.
It's all about the vibration,
It's a vibration of love. But that applies to every relationship we have, whether it's intimate, friendship, acquaintance, or stranger. It does not matter. If you treat any of those people with love, you feel it. Treat them with anger and disgrace and disrespect, you feel that too. It doesn't matter the level of relationship. Every time we interact with another human being, we are given them the opportunity to raise our vibration or lower it.
That's exactly why we're here.
Exactly.
We're here to learn from each other, to test each other, to grow, as individuals and as a collective, as part of that that we are. Right.
Right. God literally does not see our vessel at all. It sees our whole soul. It feels our whole soul all at once. It feels the soul that we have within our vessel, and at the same time feels the rest of our soul that's still attached to the other side of the veil. That's the higher self. It feels it all at once. It doesn't even know what gender you are. It just knows if you're vibrating higher or vibrating lower. That's all it knows. That's all it feels. So when people realize it doesn't really matter of your marriage certificate, you can have a marriage certificate and treat each other like crap.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you're like, I'm doing God's work because it's sanctioned by the church. It's like, no, I had nothing to do with it. So sorry. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a marriage certificate and a piece of paper between a man and a woman doesn't automatically mean that it is a beautiful divine union that is rooted in love.
Right.
And just because somebody doesn't have a marriage certificate and they are same sex, same gender, doesn't mean that theirs is not rooted in love.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And realistically, the one thing we have to really understand that the Bible, there's a lot of confusion. There's so many different writers of the Bible with different opinions, different ideas, and each one of them has a different filter of what they want to represent about God itself. And when you boil it down, because I like to give the why, the most two important scriptures, if you just pay attention to these two scriptures alone, then you're set, you're fine. I mean, it's like Othello, right? It's a minute to learn, but a lifetime to master, right? Matthew 25:40. How you treat the least of these is how you treat me. Because when you go back home, how society sees the least of these people, they are still God's the creator and we are the experiencer. No matter how small society says these people are, they are still experiencers. So even brown people are experiencers. LGBTQ are experiencers. You know what I'm saying? All these people, Chinese people are experiencers. Everybody is an experiencer. No matter how low you see them or how society sees them, they're still an experiencer. And if you treat them with dignity and love, God feels the dignity and love. If you treat them with hate and disgrace, God feels that in real time. So I like to give the why. That's why it's important. How you treat the least of these is how you treat me at all times. Second commandment, the golden rule, right? Love thy neighbor as thyself. Because when you love your neighbor as thyself and you go back home to your past life review, you're golden. That's why it's the golden rule.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for breaking all that down. You have anything you want to share, Robert, before we wrap up for today's episode?
I think just another great episode and some of the things I really needed to hear. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And, going back to, we all have a choice in everything that we say, think, and do. And truly, there's no right or wrong way to do anything. We are here to experience, to learn, to grow, and to develop our soul. And just remember, are you part of the herd mentality or the we mentality? Stay tuned. Bye. See you next time.